Hey guys, welcome to the Four Fires Small Group Content. My name is Jeff Rice, and I'm the Executive Director of the Four Fires nonprofit.
And my name is Alan Kemper, and I am the author of the Four Fires philosophy. And we just want to congratulate you as you step into your four-dimensional journey. Over the next couple of weeks, you're going to have an opportunity to dig into some real content that has the potential to really change not only your life, but the life of the people that you love and care about the most.
Yeah, and as you dig in and you understand the whole Four Fires framework and this idea of being a four-dimensional man, I want to go ahead and let you know that the reason that the Four Fires and the Four Fires nonprofit exists is to build an army of four-dimensional men. So I want to honor you and thank you. You're a part of something bigger than just this small group. Our mission is to create this massive movement of men who are striving to live this ideal life that our Heavenly Father has for us. So I encourage you to lean in, be authentic, and remember to live intentionally. All right, guys, so before we dig in, I want to make sure that we all understand a big overarching theme of the Four Fires that's really, really crucial to grasp and understand before we really get into the nuts and bolts of the Four Fires and what it means to be four-dimensional. And if you look at the back of your small group book, you'll see the question, are you stewarding your life well? And all throughout the Four Fires content, you'll see this idea of being a steward and stewarding your life well, stewarding the different areas of your life well. And I think it's super important to understand that we are stewards and what a steward is. And a steward is someone who's entrusted with and is given responsibility to take care of something that actually doesn't belong to you. And in all four of our fires, understanding that everything that we have in our life, our bodies and our relationships and our professional work, are all things, they're gifts from God, and we are called to take care of them well and steward them well. So I just want you to begin thinking about, from a base level before we dive into the Four Fires, that you and I are stewards. And then one of our favorite passages of Scripture for the Four Fires is Proverbs chapter 4, verse 7, and it says, "Wisdom is supreme, so seek wisdom. Above all, gain understanding." When we're thinking about growth in our life, it's so important to seek wisdom. And really, the way that I think you get to wisdom is, one, you have to gain knowledge, and then you take that knowledge and you learn to apply it to your life, and it becomes wisdom. We say that the only difference between knowledge and wisdom is application. And one of the things that I see as the killer of a four-dimensional man is pride. Knowledge can only be gained in the event that you're open to the idea that you could be wrong. I'm going to say that again. Knowledge can only be gained in the event that you're open to the idea that you could be wrong. So as you go through this content, listen to the men in your group. Be open-minded to receive feedback from the men in your group and from this content, and take that knowledge and learn to apply it to your life and actually take tangible steps to grow. I don't want you to go through this small group book and it just be a cool idea and then you move on. This is designed to be a philosophy for life and a roadmap to become this man that God created us to be. So one final thing that I want to leave you guys with before I pass it off to Alan and he explains to you everything about the Four Fires framework is that this idea that there's nothing new under the sun, and we get that from the book of Ecclesiastes. And just want to point out that there's nothing about the Four Fires that's new or hard to understand. You don't need a PhD to understand it and apply it to your life. It's a roadmap for answering the question, what does winning at life look like? And growing and becoming this man and being directionally correct to the man that God created us to be. So now Alan's going to come in and share with you the Four Fires framework and some really cool stories about some four-dimensional journeys.
All right, guys, I want to talk to you real quick about why are we even thinking about living four-dimensionally, and what is the power of the Four Fires? Real quickly, I want to just give you this analogy that, every morning you woke up with an armful of logs. This idea of you are allocating time and resources to the four different fires of your life. And when we do that intentionally, we can have four fires that burn strong and are healthy and glowing and create a life that we are proud to live. So the first fire that we oftentimes think about, especially as men, is our professional fire. And we can take logs and put it on that professional fire. That is our craft. Our craft is what we're good at, and our ability to convert that craft into cash. That is your professional fire, and absolutely we need to put logs on that fire so that our families are well resourced and taken care of. We can provide for them well. But life is about relationships. And we say the people fire is made up of your friends and your family. If I don't have any friends to speak of, if my wife does not like being married to me, if my children don't respect me, I'm missing out on something in life. We are relational beings. Humans are created to be in relationship, and so much of what Scripture talks about is how we're supposed to relate to our fellow man. And so our people fire is about putting intentional energy into those spaces in our lives. Then we have a physical fire. We can't control disease. We can't control accidents, but what we can control is how we eat and how we exercise. And it is important that we put energy into that space and that we learn how to pull the levers of eat and exercise so that we can get our bodies to do the work that we want them to do, so that we can be healthy, so that we can live a happy and full life. Finally, your purpose fire. The purpose fire is about taking care of your soul. Think about all of the other fires. If you stop going to work, your professional fire is going to die. If you stop putting energy into your marriage or into your friendships, those relationships are going to go away. If you stop putting energy and effort, putting logs into your physical fire, it's going to decline. The same is true in our purpose fire and the health of our soul. If we're not being intentional about putting energy, putting a log onto our purpose fire and caring for our soul by connecting with our Creator and actively living into the commitments or the choices that are a byproduct of our identity as sons of God, then we're missing out. Our soul is beginning to shrivel up and die. We need to be intentional about putting logs on each one of the four fires daily, weekly, monthly, across years and across decades. And it is that consistent work over time of the allocation of logs at each one of those four fires that allows us to live four-dimensionally and become these men that we were designed to be. Let me tell you why that's important. Because when you have a man who is good at his craft, and he's sought out for being excellent at what he does, and he's well-resourced, he becomes a source of strength. And when he has a home that is a source of strength and not a source of stress, when his marriage is strong and healthy, when his relationship with his kids are healthy, when he has real, meaningful, authentic friendships, this man has strength to lend in his people fire. When you have a man who has done the work physically to be able to walk in the room with a confidence that comes from knowing that he has done the work, that he has cared for himself, there's a presence about this kind of man. And finally, when there is a guy who has such a clear understanding of his identity as a son of the Creator of the universe and is living into the commitments that are a byproduct of that, he becomes this person who is so clear in who he is. Ultimately, he becomes a pillar of the community. He becomes somebody that people can trust and rely on. It is these kind of men that our community needs, that our country needs, that our companies need, that our churches need. There is no such thing as an exceptional organization, whether it's a family, whether it's a company, whether it's a country, that is not made up of exceptional individuals. We need to be these men so that our communities, so that our country, so that our families can be exceptional. I want to tell you a story about a guy named Eric. Eric is a friend of mine, and several years ago, Eric began to engage in his own four-dimensional journey. So Eric was a guy who found himself in his early 30s, and he had a job, and he had a wife, and he had 3 kids, and Justin invited him into a journey, into a small group, to explore what does the four fires look like for them at this stage in life, much like you're doing right now. And over the course of months and years, Eric and Justin and several of the other guys in this group began to dig in and to discuss what does the four fires look like in my life and how should I be intentionally living to shape my life into the life that I want to live. Well, here's what's interesting about Eric's journey is When Eric started the process, he took the assessment, just like many of you are about to do, and he scored himself a 26. He took the assessment, he looked at his life and the physical fire and the professional fire and the people fire and his purpose fire, and the score he gave himself was a 26. And that may not be uncommon from some of your scores. If you're honest and you look at your life and it's not what you want it to look like, then that's a score that's maybe realistic. But what's inspirational about Eric's story is that over the course of a year, as he walked through this content with a group of men that he was authentic with and that he was leaning into this content around, he began to live more and more intentionally. And at the end of the year, I got a phone call from my friend Justin, and he said, "Hey Alan, you're not gonna believe this. Eric, that guy who scored a 26 when we first started this process, he just scored himself a 76. Like, wow, that's amazing. You know, tell me the story." And he went on to tell me about how Eric had opened up about his job and how he was frustrated with his job, and the guys in the group really encouraged him and helped him see a different career path. He went and found a new job and was having success in that space in the matter of a year. When he started the process, he and his wife were having a conversation about divorce. And they had decided that through the counsel and the coaching of the men in this group, they had encouraged them to seek counseling and to do some marriage retreats. And Eric and his wife had gotten to a point where they had decided that they were going to take the word divorce off the table, that was not a part of their future. You know, Eric had, when he started the process, was probably 50 pounds overweight, and Eric had gotten really intentional about taking control of his body, and he was on a very clear path to being very fit and healthy, and had lost a lot of weight over the course of a year. And finally, Eric, you know, when he started this journey, was not in a place where he had much of a spiritual relationship anymore. He grew up in the church and felt like that God was a part of his life, but he wasn't real active in his own personal faith, and he certainly wasn't leading his family in any significant way spiritually. But after a year of this kind of digging into this content, Eric had decided that he wanted to renew his relationship with God, and that he wanted to start praying more and doing quiet times, and he started to take his family to church again, and he started to pray at dinner and to lead his family spiritually. And so at the end of a year, Eric retook his assessment and he scored himself a 76, which is a phenomenal growth. It really just represents a lot of hard, intentional work on Eric's part over the course of the year. And Justin called me to celebrate this moment about this life change that Eric had experienced. And I was excited, and Justin said, No, Alan, I don't think you understand. I said, No, I get it. Eric's grown and he's developed a lot. I'm really excited about the personal development that Eric has experienced. And Justin said, Alan, it's more than just personal development. He said, Eric has 3 boys. Can you imagine what it's like to be fathered by a 76 instead of a 26? How are those boys going to turn out differently because their father is a 76 in all 4 fires and not a 26? And Eric's married. Can you imagine what it's like for his wife to be married to a 76 instead of a 26? The marriage that she gets to participate in is completely different. And it was really in this moment that it kind of sunk in for me. I'd always thought about the 4 fires as this journey towards personal growth and development. And I always felt like that there was while it was important, maybe there was an element of selfishness in there about me trying to make myself better or people just trying to lift themselves up. But it was this story of Eric and his move from a 26 to a 76 that really solidified for me that the 4 fires is a journey, yes, for personal growth and development, but the beneficiaries of our personal growth and development as men are the people that we care most about on the planet. It's our children, it's our spouses, it's our friends. The beneficiaries of the work that we're going to do over the next couple of weeks together are the people that we love and care about the most. As you dig into this content together, I really encourage you, lean in. It matters. Because maybe your story is Eric's story. Maybe you're the 26 that needs to be the 76. Or maybe there's a guy in the room who needs you to be their Justin and walk them on that path. So lean in, be authentic, and live intentionally.
So that's the Four Fires framework. You now have an understanding of what the four fires are and what it means when we say become a four-dimensional man. Right now, what I want to do is invite every single one of you to scan the QR code in your small group workbook to join the Four Fires Tribe. The Four Fires Tribe is our free online community for men to connect. There's a lot of resources there, and it's our one-stop shop for everything Four Fires. It's a great tool for me and you to be able to surround ourselves with guys that are trying to live four-dimensionally and get good quality content to help us grow. And at the end of this video, you guys are gonna all take the Four Fires self-assessment together. Taking the Four Fires self-assessment is so imperative to us starting our growth journey because we have to clearly and honestly state where we are, the health or unhealth of any of our fires right now today, in order for us to clearly state where we want to be and then what that path and plan looks like to get there. So you guys are going to go through and you have each of the four fires and they have two subcategories, so you'll give yourself a grade of 1 to 10 in each of the 8 areas broken up from the four fires. So go through, take your time, be authentic with the guys in your group, and be honest, because if you sugarcoat something and you lie about where you are, you're only robbing yourself of that authenticity and the growth that you can have in the future.
Yeah, the purpose of this group is that you really do lean in and that you're authentic and that you begin to live intentionally. And what that means is by leaning in, we mean take this seriously. This is a moment in your life where you have an opportunity to really shift who you're gonna be in the future. So lean into that. Be authentic. You know, real life change happens in authentic community. And that's when men can look across the table at each other and say, hey, I'm not who I want to be right now, or I'm not where I want to be right now. But that's going to require a degree of authenticity and the ability to have both the uncommon and the uncomfortable conversations. So we want to encourage you to do that. And finally, the whole process of the four fires and living four-dimensionally is about living intentionally. It is about choices on the daily, by day and by decade, that shape us into the men that we were initially designed to be.
All right, you did it. So you made it through the first video for session 1 of the Four Fires small group content. What I want to do right now is make sure that you understand the flow of how this small group curriculum is supposed to go. So each week you're going to have a video just like this one that you watch, likely by yourself, and then between each of your meetings, so during the week, you should go through the entire session and highlight the things that stand out to you, answer all the discussion questions, and come prepared to have really deep, authentic conversations with the men in your group.
Yeah, so like Jeff said, there's a component of this that is you doing some work on your own, thinking about things prior to stepping into your meetings. But then there's another component, there's a reason that you're not just doing this alone. Real life change happens in community. And so the portion that you're about to step into now is introductions. Some of you are in groups of people that you think you already know. Some of you are in groups where you are meeting members for the first time. What I would like to ask you to do is for everyone to lean in and give a real, genuine introduction of yourself to the group. One of the things we like to say is the who is always more important than the what. And so this first session has a deep emphasis on getting to know the men who are a part of your group and who are going to be a part of this journey for you and with you as you step into this four-dimensional journey. So get to your introductions, be open, be authentic, and live intentionally.